doing an oil change for the very first time, you're in luck.
Here in part 1, we'll show you some of the tools and equipment you'll need to get the job done. In part 2 of this video, we're going to go ahead and change the oil in this little Lancer. We're going to do it in a typical hack kind of style by doing it as cheaply as possible while using the least amount of store-bought equipment as possible. If you're doing an oil change on a small car or a crossover, you're definitely going to have to lift it up first. You can use a jack, ramps, or even just a couple of boards.
If it's your first time doing an oil change, I recommend not using a jack. Why? They can be expensive, annoying to use, and if it is your first time, just finding the correct place to
lift by
and to safely do so can be a whole nother job on its own.
The nicest and easiest way to lift your car would be to go out and buy a set of these plastic drive-up ramps. Just look how easy that incline is. So nice to drive up, but like anything nice in life, it's gonna cost you.
To raise the car, I went the cheapest way possible, and I just got a couple of these cutoffs. These cost me nothing, and these are 2x10s over here. So if I drive up, it's not actually 2 inches, it's 1.5 inches. 1.5 inches I find is plenty of clearance. If you need a little more clearance, if you're thinking that 1.5 inches is not enough, well, it's not really a big deal. All you gotta do, just grab twice the amount of cutoffs. And grab another one there, right? Pop that on top. You got something to drive up on there now. And give her one of these. Done. Good enough. Now you got yourself a 3-inch lift and you're ready to go.
You're going to need a place to drain the old oil from the engine. We can grab one of these units over here. It's nice. Or one of these economy units. Oh yeah, that's nice.
Instead of buying an oil drain pan, you can always find an old water jug or an old oil jug like this. Cut the side open on it and you have yourself an oil drain pan.
You're also going to need an oil filter wrench, and that's going to depend on what oil filter your car has. To find out what oil filter you need, go to one of these kiosks or books, type in your year, make, model, of course the engine size, scroll through your options here. I'm going to go with that Fram, looks nice. Now you have it off the shelf, you can go find the oil filter wrench, see which one actually lines up, and take it from there. As you can see, there are many brands of oil filters out there, and each one's going to advertise its own advantages, right? Just remember, whatever you buy from a big box store or auto parts store is going to be a pretty solid choice. If you want to find out more info on the topic, I included a link for Bob's The Oil Guy. It has more info on oils and filters and all that stuff. As for engine oil, there are so many brands and weights you can choose from. When it comes to oil brands, anything you buy from a big box store or auto parts store is going to be a pretty solid choice once again. Even this store brand oil here comes with the latest in API certifications, which basically means it passes industry standards, and you can find it here in this donut. It's your stamp of approval. The most important part about choosing oil is picking the right weight for your vehicle. And by weight, I'm referring to these numbers on the bottles like 10W30, 0W20, or 5W20 respectively. You can find the correct weight for your vehicle by looking at the oil cap, engine sticker, or the owner's manual. As for tools, all you're really going to need is a basic socket set and an oil filter wrench. If you're looking for a socket set, try to find one that has wrenches, so those are super useful. And try to make sure it has a 13/16 deep socket and a 5/8 deep socket. Why? We can use these for changing spark plugs later on. If you're looking to buy a socket set, best start with something used, something off marketplace here. I'd go for either a Mastercraft or Craftsman brand. Why? They have limited lifetime warranty in the tools, so you break one, you can replace it. If you're not up for something used, they included a couple links for a Mastercraft and Craftsman toolkits. The ones I included had the deep well sockets, the 5/8 and 13/16, and they had some wrenches, which is really good to have. Hey, buying new ain't always that bad. Check this out. There's one here, it's like new kit for what, 37, 40 bucks, cheaper than used. If your vehicle has a spin-on type oil filter like this Lancer does, there's a few different oil filter wrenches out there. I recommend using this cap type. Why? It's cheaper, and as a first timer, it's a little bit easier than crawling under with this thing and remembering which way to loosen it or what have you. It happens. With the cap type, all you gotta do is grab an extension, a ratchet, then you can set it to loosen and you know you're good to go. Now that we covered some basics here in part 1, let's watch this orchestra of cheapness and efficiency come together in part number 2 when we actually change the oil.